Are you a new or returning player coming back into Battlefront 2 in 2025? Well, don't fear, because this is the series for you. Welcome to the How To series, where we break down every hero in Battlefront 2, from the dark side to the light side, from saber heroes to blaster heroes. This is the series for you. We will break down every single hero's star cards, abilities, general kit, and strengths and weaknesses. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. What is going on, everybody? My name is Swag and welcome back to the next part of the series of How To, where we break down every single hero in Battlefront 2, and today we will be breaking down Yoda. As always, we start off the section with abilities, but let me just break down Yoda for a little bit, right? Yoda is very hard to play. Like 98% of Yoda players are quite low skill or mid skill players, not very good. You can kind of get caught out quite easily, but there is some occasion, as with Grievous players, that we will go on to Grievous in another video, but as with Grievous players, there is those top 2% of players who know how to play Yoda, and they are extremely good, where you would probably smoke a Vader. So he's very hard to learn, but if you do learn how to play him, he is an extremely good character to play, and it can catch your opponents off guard, because when you see Yoda on the other team, you usually think, oh, he's going to be trash. But then when you pull up with the bling and they get cooked, man, it's a great feeling. So let's go on to Yoda's abilities. Starting with his left ability, Unleash. Unleash the Force in a cone in front of Yoda, damaging and pushing enemies back. When Yoda blocks damage using his block ability, the range and damage of Unleash increases for a short time. So this is the only unique block that you get in the game. Let me elaborate further. When you block with Yoda, you sort of use the Force to block incoming damage, right? It's a different unique animation to a lightsaber block, right? Just think of it like that. But what's interesting is when you take Force attacks or when you take blaster shots and you are blocking, the cone, the radius of the block, you'll see, will increase further and it gets bigger. That basically means that should you take enough blocking, or should you take enough incoming damage with the block, that cone can increase to some crazy lengths. Like, you can get pretty great distances with that block. And while you are charging up that block, eventually when you're happy with the size of the cone, you can then use the Force attack, Unleash, and everything in that cone will get hit with a Force push. So that's what's interesting about that. So that actually has some great play in things like Trooper modes especially. As far as how it works in hero modes, Yoda has some unique animations with Palpatine and Dooku, where if they use their lightning attacks on Yoda, then Yoda can actually rebound the lightning with his block. So you block, you get the lightning attack, and then you use your Force push, and then the lightning will shoot backwards. From what I understand, it doesn't like do any extra damage. It's just like a unique animation that comes from the prequels. If you know episode 3, you know what I'm talking about with the lightning. So there's that. Next up, Presence. Yoda instantly heals himself and allies around him. When the ability is activated, he will also break out of any immobilizing effect. So the first part, where he heals himself and allies around him, is basically like a Vader middle ability, where he gives himself a HP, except with Presence, you're not giving yourself extra stamina or extra damage, it's just extra health. That's it, right? Although you can give yourself more special things with Presence, with cards, which we'll go on to later. So he heals himself with extra HP and also allies. The second part, where he breaks out of any immobilizing effect. If you get caught out with a freeze or a chokehold or a choke or a pull, if you have your Presence ready, so not active, but ready, so you're about to press it, and you get hit with a freeze, let's say a Kylo freeze, for example, because it's very easy to break off, you hit Presence, so you hit the ability while you are frozen, and you will free yourself, basically. So if you get caught out maybe from a Vader choke, you can technically escape the choke if you have Presence ready. So it's very good to have handy on loads of force-wielding attackers like Vader or Kylo that are quite reliant on force abilities like choke and freeze and pull, and it's very easy to escape from with Presence. So that's a very unique thing about Yoda's middle ability. And finally, his right ability, his dash attack. Yoda leaps forward up to 2 times, dealing damage without being blocked. What does this mean? So, as we've broken down for Luke and Maul, they have their dash attacks, right? But for Luke and Maul, when you use the dash attack, it doesn't go through blocks. With Yoda, these dash attacks do, and that's something that's so important with Yoda. This man, if you can utilize his dash attack so perfectly, this guy can break through any block and can apply the most ridiculous amount of pressure ever in the world. And that's quite an aggressive play style to play with Yoda. And the thing about Yoda that I sort of don't like is his HP. Yes, presence can give you extra HP, but he just feels like he takes too much damage, right? I mean, maybe from other people's experiences is different, but every time I play Yoda, he just takes too much damage, and it's very hard to play very aggressive with him because he's so squishy. He's squishy, but he can definitely apply a lot of pressure. So that's something to keep in mind when using him and utilizing his dash attacks. So now that we've gone through all the abilities, what are the cards that we have available? And what are the potential card combos that we have? Starting with Enduring Presence. Presence is active for a longer duration, up to 5 seconds as a purple card. How is this good? Well, if we look back at Presence, we see that we get more health from using Presence. Really, the only benefit the card gives is that you gain the extra health that you gain is just kept for longer until you take damage. So that is something to keep in mind, and that can be a play you could do with Yoda if you want to go for like a health build to be a bit more tanky and survive a little bit better. That's kind of the only purpose of this card, is just to provide that extra health that you get for longer durations until you take damage. Unleashed. The AoE of Unleashed, the minimum size is larger. So when we say the minimum size is as soon as you open your block, you see that cone, that's the minimum size. As a purple card, it goes up to 25% increase. This card, I'd say, is more for like those trooper modes. If you don't want to just stand, because when you're absorbing those hits, it does drain, I believe it drains stamina, if I'm not mistaken, but it just doesn't drain as much stamina as the lightsaber blocks. So his unleash or his his block doesn't drain as much stamina when he absorbs hits, so that's something to keep in mind. But the cone is also very small, so if you want to take less time charging up the attack when you absorb damage, this would be good to have for things like trooper modes, so that you can just get in there, open your block, and then absorb a few hits, and then use the force push and then run away. Something like a hit and run sort of play style with this attack. As far as in like dueling scenarios, you don't need an extra cone size for the force push, so it's not necessary there. Mostly for trooper modes. Agility. Yoda can do 1 extra dash attack, but the recharge rate is slightly lower. This is the goated card that you may want to have for Yoda. Because we talked about how good his right ability is, having an extra dash attack, so now instead of 2, we have 3 with this card. 3 dash attacks that can all go through block. That is crazy pressure that you can do with Yoda. And that is something that is especially really good for things like dueling. Dueling specifically, this card is chef's kiss. Fantastic. The benefit of going through block and applying pressure is unreal. We're taking away their health. It doesn't drain stamina though, so I don't believe it drains stamina. And it definitely goes through health because it goes through block, and it stops the health regen. Now, if you're doing that 3 times, you're chipping away so much health that is just, they're constantly running away from you. So opponents who are very reliant on being aggressive, maybe like a Maul, right, is going to have to play very passive, which is something that goes against this playstyle. So depending on your matchup, you could force opponents to be defensive with this card, and this card is absolutely fantastic. Opposing the dark side, Yoda deals more damage with his lightsaber strikes to enemy heroes, and at purple card this does 16 damage. So, what do I think of this card? Obviously, it's more of a dueling card because it's specific to enemy heroes, right? IMO, I haven't been running this card for a while because I had a different build going on. I was going for more of a heal build. I guess I can see the value of this in dueling, right? Because Yoda's damage is not really that great without cards. Like, So I'll just explain. Let's say I'm going for a full heal build with these cards. I will go into the cards later. But with this, I'm sacrificing damage resistance and damage, right? And the thing about Yoda that sucks is his basic damage with his basic attack is not great, right? But having extra 16 damage on top does help him significantly in dueling. This card can be nice to have, I guess, if you feel that you need more damage. There is different card setups you can do, so it will wrap everything up at the end and talk about that. The extra damage is nice to have. Earned it, I have. The AoE of Unleash grows faster when absorbing blaster shots. So, back to the same sort of concept with this card here of Unleashed, where the minimum size is larger, except this time is now when you're absorbing damage, specifically from blaster shots with the block, the radius grows significantly faster. This is more of a like a trooper mode setup, right? You're not really using this in HVV or dueling, more for those trooper modes so that you can get your force push larger, and then you use your force push, and then you hit loads of opponents in the area. So this can be nice to have. Next, Jedi Mentor. Yoda receives less overall damage, and his damage reduction is only 8%. This card, I'll be honest, I don't know if this card is really good to have, because an 8% damage reduction is so minuscule. I honestly don't feel like this would be good to have. I remember doing some sort of setup with Jedi Mentor and opposing the dark side, but now that I look at it, at a purple card, 8% is so small. And I don't know if there's any like bugged cards for Yoda specifically, so this could be higher or lower, but I generally don't know. I'd have to look it up. 8% seems really low, but you do get some damage reduction at least. The thing with Yoda that I wish they had done, instead of us having to put Jedi Mentor on as a card, they should have just buffed his damage resistance in general, because he's super duper squishy, which is something I just generally don't like about Yoda. There is that damage reduction card if you feel like you need it, but once again, 8% just seems very, very low. Next, Feel the Force. Presence gives more bonus health when activated. So that heal build that I mentioned, where you're mainly using presence and you're focusing on that ability, this gives you more bonus health to have. That's very nice to have for survivability. This could be used in things like HVV or dueling, or maybe even the trooper modes so that you don't die, because presence is the sort of main way that Yoda survives in trooper modes and in HVV. So having more bonus health when you use presence is always good to have. More health in the trifecta that I mentioned: health, stamina, health regen, and damage reduction. Having more health is always good to have. Size matters not. When the bonus health of presence is depleted, it heals for some of the damage it prevented. The cooldown of presence is increased by 13 seconds. So, maybe this seems confusing, but let me break it down. So, when the bonus health, which is that gold health, that yellow health that you see when you use presence, depletes, so when it disappears, depending on the rarity of this card, so I'm going to be specifically talking about purple cards only in this whole build showcase, but as we lose that yellow HP, we will regenerate 50% of that, okay? Maybe it would be better if I showed like a video breaking it down, but basically, the yellow HP that you lose, you gain back 50% of it. This, initially you might think, oh, well, Yoda doesn't really get a lot of yellow HP, so recurring 50%, is that really a good thing? Maybe not by its own this card, but when you start pairing it with this card, Feel the Force, you're starting to get more HP recovered, and that's something that's really nice to have with Yoda. These two cards synergize very nicely with each other. So when you lose your HP, you recover 50% of that yellow bar HP. Feel the Force gives us more of that yellow HP when we use presence. So ultimately, with these two cards together, we're recovering even more HP when we lose that yellow bar of HP. So that's something just to consider when you use this card specifically. On its own, I wouldn't expect it to be powerful, but when you start pairing up with different presence cards, that's when it gets stronger. And finally, Lightsaber Mastery. Yoda swings his lightsaber with ease, draining less stamina when striking. Once again, as I mentioned, stamina for new players is very important, especially on Yoda. With Yoda, though, I think it's more of like a hit and run sort of play style, so you might be going only for one swing and then backing away, sort of. But once again, stamina is good for the HVV, good for dueling, good for trooper mode, so having the extra stamina is nice if you can manage your stamina effectively, because this is only a 15% decrease drain. If you can manage your stamina effectively, then feel free to use other cards. But for new players specifically, I think Lightsaber Mastery on Yoda would be nice to have if you feel like stamina is a problem. So, what are the card setups now that we've broken everything down? What are some potential builds that you can do for him? Well, you could go for a full HP build, right? With Enduring Presence, where Presence is longer, has a longer duration, you get the bonus health, and you get recover half of that bonus health, right? This, I would say maybe Enduring Presence isn't necessary, because then if it lasts for less time, then that means we can get our yellow HP depleted quicker, which means then these two cards can work more effectively. Or Size Matters Not can work more effectively. So maybe we don't have Enduring Presence, and we could possibly, it depends. Okay, for HVV, you could do Opposing the Dark Side, Feel the Force, and Size Matters Not, because the damage is probably necessary, to be honest. Or we could do, if we're going for a not heal build, let's say a full-on offense build, Agility, Opposing the Dark Side, with maybe Jedi Mentor for the 8% reduction, even though I did slander it a little bit. That's a nice build to do. Or if you think 8% is very low, Lightsaber Mastery, or if you think the stamina is not that great, or if you feel like you can manage the stamina quite effectively, then maybe go for Feel the Force for the extra HP. You don't want to do Size Matters Not on its own, because it increases the cooldown of Presence by 13 seconds. That is a pretty chunky bit of time that you have to wait to reuse the ability. And the fact that you're not pairing it up with this card because you don't have any more card slots means that it's going to be very weak on its own. So I wouldn't advise using Size Matters Not on its own, right? So that's why I think Feel the Force is better. You get a shorter cooldown for Presence by using this card, and you get more bonus health, right? So this sort of setup would work nicely. For HVV, I don't recommend using the Unleash cards that like have to do with absorbing damage and having a bigger force push radius. Maybe if you maybe if you wanted to go for ledging, you could go Unleashed, so the minimum size is bigger. But I generally wouldn't advise it. So this sort of setup would work nicely. As far as what I'm doing, I do use Agility, I do use Opposing the Dark Side, and I do use Lightsaber Mastery, so this sort of setup, mainly for dueling, for a dueling purpose. This is nice to have, but sometimes I switch with Feel the Force as well. So that is HVV done. Next up for Trooper modes. Ooh, this is interesting. What would we do here? Well, this is where the Force Push cards might actually be worth it, because the minimum size is bigger. That means we don't have to absorb as much damage. And when we do absorb damage, the cone grows exponentially quicker, right? So that can help you grow your cone into a much bigger area. And as you get a bigger area, that means you can then force push more opponents and potentially kill more troopers, which is great because we want to try and kill as many troopers as possible. And the force push is or specifically Yoda's force push and block is very, very good for trooper mode. So you want to play into that as best as you can. And maybe you could put in some sort of survivability ability. Holy shit. Like Feel the Force for the bonus health. Probably, I mean, like, once again, Jedi Mentor would be nice, but, like, it's 8%. It's so minuscule, so I don't know if it's worth going for something like this. I would say Feel the Force would be a better alternative. Instead of using Jedi Mentor on this. Is there anything else you could play into? You could you do Agility for the extra dash attack? The thing is, Yoda is so hard to hit because he's already so small. It might be unnecessary to have a third dash attack. I think this is a comfortable trooper mode build where you're mainly focusing onto the force push. You do get extra benefit from presence, and you already have 2 dash attacks, so you don't need an extra one, right? And you're already very elusive and hard to hit because you're really so small. So this sort of setup works pretty well, where you have Unleashed, Feel the Force, and Earned It I Have. And that is my showcase for Yoda in both HVV, as far as what card setups you can do, and for those trooper modes as well. Now we are going to go into some HVV and showcase Yoda as far as his dueling potential goes. So let's jump in and I will see you there. Alrighty everybody, we are on Bespin, which is not great because there is going to be a lot of legend going on. Let's play on the outside anyway. Generally for light side we just have better force abilities to play on the edge. And we're just gonna play into him. Palpatine is a pretty... sorry. Oh, what the hell he on say? But yeah, just some things to keep in mind is Dooku and Palpatine. Yoda is a very good counter against because he can absorb their lightning. No, send him flying. Go for his block. That's just something nice to have. Keep whacking him behind. Nice. And like, okay, there we go. We got force. Oh shit. Okay, I got staggered. But we got force choked, and then we broke out with presence, right? Just some things that suck about Yoda is his basic attack animation is really, really slow. You do specific, all that, like, not very great. With Yoda, I feel like you need to do more jump attacks. Nice, send him off. Gonna just get them all. Damn. Woo! We got taking a bit of damage. Hey. Okay, this guy is blindly swinging. But we did get him there. Where is he? There are Palpatine somewhere. Come on. Nice, we got him. Yeah, super squishy character, so he's gonna be quite hard to play. And I'm not a great Yoda player because I don't play Yoda often. But look, we're countering Palpatine because my force ability or my block is absorbing the oh god, do not run. We're gonna have to do some jump attacks. Where are you running to, son? Oh no. I am gonna run. I gotta get my team. Nice, Luke. There was no way I was winning that, 4v1. Alright. Oh my god. Whew. Thank you, Luke. Oh, man. He didn't... Okay. I used my right ability, but he somehow predicted I was gonna go for it. I don't know, is the right ability like really readable? Like every time I use it, it just... I don't know. Maybe he's just blindly swinging. And I'm just getting really unlucky. And he's predicting it. They do have a Kylo. Nice. Okay. We got a Boba. I see he's going. Silly Boba player. He's gonna launch someone off. I'm gonna launch him. Wait, what? Okay. There's some healings. Okay, they got him ledged. It's mostly gonna be ledging. What the hell? Oh, nice Luke. That is why Luke is the GOAT. Whoa! Oh, well. Okay, I didn't see them all. My bad, gang. Someone else plummeted. Yeah. Look how small Yoda is. You can literally hide. What? Oh, damn it. Wasn't long enough. Let's just hide. Patiently wait for my prey. Yeah. I didn't hit anyone with that, huh? I want to chase this guy. Come on. Oh, he caught his frenzy. No. Heal. Support. Oh, god damn it. I'm not hitting anything with Yoda, god. Did he hit an emote? Okay. I'm not sure this is very riveting gameplay for Yoda. Oh! Ooh. I freed myself and it knocked him. Nice. Holy guacamole, Sean. Okay, he's a spammer. Let me bait him. Come on, we'll rescue this guy. He can go outside. Hiya! We got a lock in here. Oh my god, what the hell? They must have done a double force push there. Oh, watch this, we're gonna finish him. Because we can go for a block. Very good at actually getting some finishes off though on weak opponents. Because you can just rely on the right ability and it's got him. What do we have here? Yeah, no range. Let's go over here. Don't need to worry about that. Oh. Nice, we got that. Okay, that's slightly bullshit because I was out of the thing and then I walked into it. Come on. Got 4 more kills. No force push there. I hate this line from Boba. To a jump attack. I don't know how good he is at hook swinging actually. This Dooku is just blindly swinging though. I'm just gonna... With Dooku you don't have to worry about him like force choking you or anything, it's just his lightning. Just try and get a nice little duel in here. Oh, Kenobi got him. Pretty good. The Dooku was sort of spamming though. Okay. Chat, I swear to god I pressed the force push first. I swear to it. I swear on my soul. Not performing too well here. Close game here. Alright. Yeah! Let's go! Third place on my team. I'd be fourth on the leaderboard, I think. Yeah. It's a little bit harder to get points on Yoda. But yeah, if you're playing Luke or Anakin, I would expect you to do better than me. But very nice either way. We did get one duel with the Dooku, but the Dooku is sort of a spammer. So, yeah. But I still won that duel. That's been Yoda, guys. He's pretty interesting to play. I still can't master him. I just don't like his feel. He's got a very slow animation for his basic attack. And typically, you always basic attack with other lightsaber heroes, but with him, you need to be like doing a lot of like jump, hook swings, and jump attacks and all that stuff because those have the smallest animation or the shortest animations. Unlike his basic attacks, which take about 5 years to finish, so they suck. So when you're going against someone who's a lot more agile, like Maul or Dooku with his middle ability, kind of hard to play against. As far as parrying goes, yeah, you could parry because the animation will get cancelled, his basic attack animation. So you're just doing a quick attack at that point. So I guess playing into his parries would be better. But I just feel like still Yoda just takes too much damage. Even if you have the 8% damage reduction, that's not gonna change anything. He just seems very weak, but his kit is very strong. Like his dash is good, his middle is good, his force push is unique. But his health and just attack speed is so abysmal. So there's that. But thank you guys for watching. And of course, stay tuned for the next video that will be live soon. And of course, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.